So the title is not clickbait. At least I hope it's not clickbait. I'm actually going to be talking about lost and lonely Lego. I'm going to be answering a BrickTsar Answer Thingy question in regards to this. It's about missing pieces in your store where you lose things. I mean, we all lose Lego from time to time. Whether you have a Bricklink store or just your personal collection, you can't find that piece. And we're also going to talk about these lots I have where I only got one piece. And I've been trying to do some things to consolidate the store where I'm making better use of the space and hopefully get some things in the store to sell. But I've been focusing a lot on the Bricklink store here lately. That's why I haven't done as many videos. Plus, I don't know about you, but since this past week, I've probably listened to Blue Monday a few more times than I should. I don't know. Have you? Have you listened to Blue Monday too much? I know I have. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. It has nothing to do with anything Lego related. But anyway, let's get to this BrickTsar Answer Thingy question. And this is actually from BG Hutch 8585. I think I said it right. Yes. And he's asked, his BrickTsar Answer Thingy question is, do you have any tips? That's not the whole question. It's, do you have any tips on keeping inventory accurate, thus reducing lost items or missing items? And it happens a lot. I actually have some things in my inventory listed as lost. They're in my inventory. The remarks got missing and I don't know where they are. But let me show you first how I keep track of the items, and then I'll talk about how I do, what would you call it? They call it inventory. Is that what they call it? When you do the biannual or annual inventory. Yeah, when you do inventory, it's like an audit of your own inventory. So there, it was a real question. All right, I had to search back. There's also a lot of other bad questions I need to get to. All right, so I'm looking at my inventory here, and one thing, go click, see, you clicked on that. You go to my store inventory. That's how you get to that page. And the most likely thing to get missing are parts. Usually sets are big, they're hard to lose. So when I go by item type, this is the one that I'm usually missing. And there's a variety of things that can cause your inventory to be incorrect. Or you like somebody like this piece here, there's only one left. And so if it's lost and I don't know where it is, it has no remarks, so I don't know where it is. I wouldn't be able to pick it, and I'd have to go find somewhere a new one in my collection, like from another set that I haven't opened yet or something like that. That's what I usually do. So the first thing I usually do, if my wife's picking an order and she can't find a piece or pieces, I'll tell her where there are some new sets that she can get them out of, because I have some new sets we hadn't opened and stuff, and that's what she'll do sometimes. So that's one way, or one thing that can happen. Another thing can happen, I was picking some pieces, and it was actually, which drawer was it? I think it was this drawer. Yeah, this is the one. So I just picked a couple of orders, and here's all the empty trays from just these two orders. So they ordered all the remaining parts, and fortunately I had the quantity right. But this one, there should have been 6 left. But what happened was I was picking it like this, and I accidentally dropped 2. Well, actually what I thought was 1. And for whatever reason, the thing bounced, and I don't know where it went. I looked all in this area. And I said, well, I'm missing one, so I need to go update the inventory. When I went to update the inventory, I said I was going to subtract 1, but I looked at the total, and there was 4 in there, and I was like, oh, so I must have dropped 2. So that's another thing that can happen is mistakes, either dropping and losing pieces, which ends up with this mess here. These are pieces that have been found on the floor. This one was actually, I found in a drawer that was not in my inventory. It was a lost piece that I didn't know I had. So that's from the Statue of Liberty. And these 2 pieces were also, I found doing an audit. And I'll show you the way I did this audit is we'll go over here to my store, and I'm already in my inventory, so I don't need to do that. But if you search by remarks, oh yeah, I need to get up to the numbers. So I do from 0001 up to 9999. And so like there's 0, 1, 0. So everything will be in order. 102, 103, 104, 105. So what you do is you look for missing numbers. Now I'm going to have a lot of missing numbers because of these empty drawers here. These things here are things that are in my stock room. Stock room, for those that don't know, the way I use the stock room is these are parts that I have, but I don't have a drawer for them. And so these drawers are now empty. So I'll take these parts, or some of these parts, put in these drawers and add them and give them a remark. But let me show you this. And then get to the number drawers. So I just go through until I find a missing number. Like that. 18, 19. And you have to have the zeros in the front or this will not work correctly. And see, there are 25. There's 24, then 26. There was no 25, so I went over to drawer 25, and there were these two heads here. These female heads. I almost want to say those are from Lucy. And I do not have this part in my store. So these were either extras that I didn't know I had, and they got left. The way it works, when you pick an order, so I'll go to one of the orders. Let me come off of it so I make sure I don't show any private information. So I got two orders, and I'm going to click on this big one here. All right, so when you pick an order, this is the quantity they ordered, 1, and then there would be 6 left. 1, 5 left. Oh, they got all of those, so there's no left. So when you see the X, none left. So that was like one of the big drawers here. And so another way you can kind of audit is like, it's harder when you got these large quantities, but sometimes my wife will notice, she's like, yeah, I picked these 4, but there was like 20 left in the drawer, or there was only 2 left. And she'll usually leave those drawers out like this is still in my store, and I'll correct the inventory. That happens almost every week. We find a mistake like that. And that's just from having a lot of parts in the store. So I imagine for a big store, it can become a problem. So like 8X. So anytime we get a big order that has a lot of these X's in it, where it means they've bought all of a lot, number one, I love it. Thank you everybody that clears out drawers. But number two, I get nervous because I'm like, oh, I hope all the pieces are there. So most of the time they are. It's usually the drawers that are most likely to get messed up are the ones where I have a lot, like this cheese slope. There's 920 of them. And so eventually when you get down to 0, there could be mistakes made. So another thing you can do is kind of give with those large quantity, low price items, just give yourself a buffer. Like have more on stock than what's actually in your inventory. That way if you make some errors along the way, it won't bite you. And an audit is basically looking at your drawer numbers and making sure none are missing when you don't have any drawers that are empty. And just from time to time looking, I actually found a section of my store. It was in this area. Wait a minute. No. It was in this area. This area here where there's numbers that had not been picked in a while. But what it ended up being was a lot of used parts. So I'm trying to get the used parts where they're marked down a lot, and also a lot of drawers that only had one piece in them. So I'm doing something to control that. We're going to get to that just in a minute, but one more thing before we get over there to the one-piece items. So when I worked in a warehouse, I think it was twice a year, they took all the employees and they did an inventory. That's where you literally counted every item in the store, but you have all the workers working, counting, and you're counting $20 million worth of groceries. That can take a long time. But the audit had to be done I think it was like in December and in June or something they did those audits. So and that's something you could do if you had a smaller store, but I have 5,800 or more different lots. So it would take a long time to go through and count all 315,000 pieces. I think there's only 314,000 pieces after this order. But so that's one thing you could do is just go through and check. every drawer. Or maybe like, say, one week I say, I'm going to check all of these drawers. Maybe not necessarily count, but just make sure that it looks like it's close to what the count says in your inventory. You can do things like that. But yeah, counting them all, that's, it would get old very quick. When you got some drawers like this, there's no way I could count it. You could do a weight. Some people that have large stores, I think they count by the weight of the item. They have very accurate scales that go to the fraction of a gram or something, and then you can take something and just dump it on there until the weight matches whatever the quantity would be. As long as I think the smaller items like this it's more challenging, but larger items you can get closer to the actual weight. But now let's get over here to the lonely Lego. All right, these are items I've put in this tray. A lot of these things, or many of them, have been in my store for a long time, and I'm down to one. And quantity one in a store is bad because a lot of times people want multiples of certain types of parts. Minifigure parts, maybe not, but yeah, so these are, what I did is I went through and sorted in my store by quantity. And I just started at the number one, quantity one, and there were over 300 lots that only had one item in them. And there's 19 in each of these trays, so this is like 76, I think it is, different lots of only one piece. So I just got them in this tray. Some of these have been sitting in my store for a long time. They're just tying up space in the drawers. So I'm going to set these trays somewhere off to the side where they're not going to be in the main part of the store, but if anybody does order them, they're here. Most of these, if they're used, are like 60% off. I may have to even come down more on the prices. But here's some of the lonely one-piece lots. That's from the 375, 6075 Castle. That's from the Castle. That's from the Castle. My prices may be too high. I don't know. Most of these are used torsos. There's this weird thing. Oh, I don't know what that goes to. I forgot. Is it a Chima set? That'll probably never sell. It's like, is there anything on here that will never ever sell? I mean, these are pretty good parts here, but sometimes people want multiple wheels, so there's that weird piece, one random tile. Ooh, that's like from a 4 Junior set, I think. There's a Darth Vader helmet, calculator, an old scratched up tile, but these are kind of rare, so I listed it as scratched. There's a piece of hair, a Duplo brick, it's in demand, right? No. Steering wheel. Oh, look, Count Dooku's lightsaber. Chicken? Yes, a chicken. Yeah, and there's some more different, just random pieces. One piece, there's a Duplo plate, another Duplo. So, and the sound brick, I think. I don't know what that's from. But I got that listed as new, though. So that's just what I've started on. I've only done, like I said, 76. I have over 300 lots, I think, that have just one item. So I'm just going to work on putting them in these trays, and then I can stack them like this. I can just stack them as high as I want. And since there's only one lot in each compartment, it won't take long. Oh, I should mention this. I try to think of this when I'm putting parts in here. I try not to put similar looking parts in the same tray, because in the remarks it's just going to say tray 16. And I try to do the one drawer, one lot, or one lot, one drawer, so that mistakes aren't made. So that's not the case here. I got one tray, 19 different parts. So I just try to make sure all the parts look different. I think this is a good example. I mean, none of the parts, even though that's a wedge, but they're two different colors. You got torsos that are clearly different. And then, yeah, everything. So it'd be easy when you're picking the order. You see the picture of the item. Oh, boom, there it is. It's easy. So that's one thing to think of when you put multiples in a drawer. And you could do that with these drawers. Like, I only have one part in there, but you could put multiple parts. Just make sure they look different so that when someone's picking, they won't make a mistake. So that might have been some boring discussion, but it's something if you're running a store or any type of store, not just a Lego one, you got to keep track of your inventory for tax purposes and also for accuracy on your stock, so that people don't buy something and you have to message them back and you say, oh, I don't have it. And yes, that happens. Between either making mistakes or the other things I mentioned, I'll be picking an order and I'm missing a piece or pieces and I can't find them in another set. Like most of the time, I say 95% of the time, I'm able to find them in other sets. But that 1 in 20 times that I can't, I just email them. I said, I can't find this part. We lost it. We made a mistake somewhere in our inventory. We accept a refund. And usually I give them a refund and a coupon or something like that. So it doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. Mistakes made. And I think everybody understands that mistakes can be made. So that is my boring tutorial for adults that like to sell Lego in the Bricklink store. And just gives you a behind the scenes of what I do. I mean, I haven't been filming a lot of videos. I've been working down here in the Bricklink store, trying to keep it organized, trying to get ahead so that in 2020 I can get more involved in doing other things. Oh, and I think I've been doing a good job of keeping everything clean. The table's still clean. Still got the Batmobiles. I don't know if you can see them. I haven't reviewed the Batmobiles. Or TheyMightBeBricks had, and I really want to do it with him since he built the big one over there. Yeah, so, and I got to get ready for Brick Fair. I'm totally behind. There's my box of stuff for Brick Fair. I don't know if you can see it. So, yeah, I'm going to Brick Fair, Alabama, January 16, 17, 18, something like that. So, hope to see you there if you're going. And if not, I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Oh, even if you're going, I can see you in the next video. Or you can see me. I never understood that I'll see you. No, you will see me in the next video. All right, bye.